In this part of our presentation, we are going to talk specifically about fortified for existing homes. Without a doubt, this is going to be the most frequent type of inquiry that you're going to get as an insurance agent from homeowners and your clients. What do I do to upgrade my home? How do I get into this fortified for existing homes program? So we're going to spend some time right now giving you that information in detail. Fortified for existing homes, unlike fortified for safer living, has different levels of designation. Fortified for safer living has a single level of designation. You either qualify or you don't. Fortified for existing homes allows for different incremental changes to be made to a home, and they are recognized by either the bronze, silver, or gold designation. Those designations are further broken down or grouped into two tiers. Tier 1 is the bronze and silver designations, and our focus in these two levels of designation, bronze first focuses on the roof covering, roof deck attachment, essentially keeping the roof intact and keeping water from infiltrating the house through the roof if the roof covering is damaged. The silver takes all of those same improvements that are done in bronze and adds to it gable ends, bracing for gables that are over 4 feet tall, opening protection, and proper connection of attached structures. You cannot qualify for silver without meeting the standards for bronze. The final tier is tier 2, and that is the gold designation. And the reason we separated those designations into two tiers is that bronze and silver, generally the elements that we're concerned about, the systems that we're concerned about, are easily observable, and we can get accurate data without having to be too intrusive in the home. The gold designation, however, really seeks to identify and confirm that a continuous load path from the roof all the way to the foundation is properly installed. And then sometimes we just can't see that without cutting drywall or removing something to be able to see those connections. So we separate those two things. You cannot qualify for gold without qualifying first for bronze and silver. So typically what happens is an evaluation is performed looking at the bronze and silver elements, and then if bronze and silver is satisfied, then going to gold. Generally speaking, it's not very successful if we try to go directly to gold because of the inspection process. It is likely or possible, I guess is the right word, that when trying to achieve a gold designation, it may be necessary to have a professional engineer involved in that process. Generally speaking, gold designations can be achieved by recently built homes that are designed properly and executed well, and homes that are being significantly remodeled, either as a part of just normal remodeling or after an event. So these next few slides just kind of outline the goals of each level of designation. The goal of the bronze designation is to minimize damage during a Category 1 storm. Again, I have to reiterate that these are not shelter-in-place guidelines. In other words, if a storm is heading towards the coast, North Carolina coast, it's only a Category 1 storm, but an evacuation order is given, families need to evacuate. We're just saying that the home should still be standing and there should be minimal water intrusion after a Category 1 storm if you have a bronze designation. The bronze designation is the entryway into the entire program, and there are two ways to achieve a bronze designation. You can either achieve the bronze designation without replacing your roof covering. So in other words, the existing roof covering, whether it's shingles, metal, tile, or some other material, is in good shape and has a more than a 5-year usable life left in it. If that's the case, then you can qualify for bronze designation without re-roofing. If your roof needs to be replaced because of normal maintenance issues, then the second option is available to you, and you can qualify for bronze with re-roofing. And that makes some of the retrofits easier to do and gives more options to achieving some of the standards. The single biggest criteria for the entire Fortified for Existing Homes program is the existence and application of what we call a secondary water barrier. It's really not secondary. It is a method for keeping water out of the from penetrating through the roof in the event that the primary roof covering is lost. But we'll talk about what it means to have a secondary water barrier. Every roof covering, before it gets applied to the roof deck, which you see here, the wood roof deck, has an underlayment underneath it that separates the roof covering from the deck. However, the code compliant underlayments are easily damaged by high winds and frequently come off when the primary roof covering is removed. So what we're talking about doing is making sure that there's a system in place so that in the event that the roof covering and the underlayment are removed, that the water can't penetrate the house. So this is one method. A roofing contractor can use 6-inch wide tape, a special modified bitumen tape that is applied to all vertical and horizontal seams, and then the normal roof underlayment can be applied. This is the simplest and most cost-effective way of accomplishing this water resistance. Another method is to apply a fully adhered membrane called peel and stick. This has become more common, more frequent lately, but this is another method. Finally, it is possible, even if your roof covering is not being replaced, it is possible to install a qualified secondary water barrier from within the attic. So you don't have to replace your roof covering if you don't have a secondary water barrier. But this option is available to you it's provided there's attic access. You can see here that the horizontal and vertical seams are all sealed. And that's a closed cell polyurethane foam that is installed. This is the same type of material just applied to the entire underside of the roof deck. In this case, not only is this material providing secondary water resistance, but it's also serving to provide supplemental attachment of the roof deck to the roof framing members. Another key criteria is the improvement of anchorage of gable and outlookers. Whenever you have a gable house that looks like this, the triangular gable, and you have overhangs, those overhangs are inherently weak and susceptible to damage. They can peel up and peel back and cause roof failure, and you can see here from the massive hole that's available, the water over a prolonged period of time exposed to a hurricane can just dump in the house. Another area of weakness that we deal with in the bronze level as part of the attic ventilation system is the soffits. These are the horizontal overhangs. This type of failure can lead to this type of damage inside a house that is otherwise structurally intact. And finally, when you have a gable end that is vented as part of the ventilation system, we're making sure that vent there's a method to cover that vent and prevent water intrusion during a storm. Moving on to the silver designation level, silver incorporates all of the improvements we just talked about, but now we're also talking about protecting openings that are in the building, windows, doors, garage doors, skylights, and we're also talking about bracing gable ends and improving attached structures, the connection of attached structures like carports and porches to the building's foundation. These are just some examples of things done right and things lacking protection. The picture on the left, you can see that actually the sliding glass door is damaged and has been completely dislodged as a result of furniture that has been pushed out from the house, out through the sliding glass door. This is the result of an opening somewhere else in the building failing, and the wind building and the pressure building up inside the home enough to be able to move that furniture and push it against the door with such force it caused it to fail. That's one of the reasons why pressurization is the reason why we try to keep openings protected so that structures and other components don't fail. The lower right is an example of a qualified opening protection installed over doors and windows. Here's some more examples. It is possible to qualify for a silver designation if you have either shutters or impact rated products like the ones you see on the right. Garage door openings represent some of the biggest openings in a house. Even those that are elevated up off the ground You may not have garage door openings frequently in those situations, but when you do have a garage, that opening, if it fails, causes a extreme amount of vulnerability in the house. So we're looking to making sure that garage doors are properly pressure rated, and if they have windows, that they are impact protected. Gable ends are some of the most susceptible features on a home. The reason is that the triangular shape that forms that gable comes down and has to be connected to the wall beneath it. Well, at that connection point, if it's not properly braced and properly constructed, and the codes don't provide an adequate bracing methodology, or at least they didn't until recently, that connection point at the bottom of the truss or rafter to the wall acts like a hinge, and it can either be pushed in or sucked out away from the home. And this type of failure is very common in a high wind event. So we make sure that any gables that are over 4 feet tall are properly constructed and or braced. And then lastly, in the silver designation, we are making sure that porches and carports are adequately attached. In this case here, hopefully it's not the shelter after the storm, but you can start to see how the porch is failing, and that failure can then impact the structure, the rest of the structure. For the gold level of designation, remember this is the third level of designation, and this now is tier 2. The gold designation, which is the highest level of existing home designation, qualifies for the greatest amount of credit for an existing home. The goal here is to minimize damage from a Category 3 storm. We're doing all of the bronze improvements, all of the silver improvements, and now we're making sure that the home has an adequate load path. These are some examples of what it looks like to make sure that a home has a load path, or that one is installed. On the left, it's a home that's being remodeled, and you can see that a strip of drywall has been removed from the wall and the ceiling, and metal straps have been added to tie the roof down to the structure. On the right, this was previously an unreinforced masonry wall that also is very susceptible to failure, and this cell has been opened up and rebar has been installed. In addition to protecting the windows and other openings from pressure, from impact at the gold level, we're also now protecting them from pressure vulnerabilities. It is possible that with a shutter installed over an opening, that the window or door behind it can still be pushed in or pulled out as a result of pressure, but the shutter itself keeps the wind from infiltrating the house and building up pressure that can cause structural failure. In the gold level designation, not only are we protecting that opening from impact, but we're also making sure that the material that normally closes off that opening, the windows and the doors, are properly pressure rated. In this case, this window opening had a porch above it that was ripped off, and this window was actually sucked out of the opening due to pressure. So the most frequent question I get for Fortified for Existing Homes is, how do I get customers to qualify? How do they start the process? So there's basically a 5 or 6 step process. The homeowner must apply for an evaluation at www.disastersafety.org. There's an application on the Fortified for Existing Homes page. Once they make application, which costs nothing and takes about 5 minutes to complete, they'll be given a list of evaluators that are certified and trained by IBHS in their area. They contact the evaluator of their choice and arrange to have an evaluation completed in their home. After the evaluator completes the gathering of data, he provides that data to IBHS. IBHS then reviews the data and issues a report called the Current Condition Report. That report goes back directly to the homeowner. The homeowner then reviews it and decides, if they don't qualify for designation, decides what retrofits and what level of designation they want to pursue, and then puts a plan in place to do that. If they do qualify for designation, a certificate will be sent along with the report identifying which level they do qualify for. Assuming that the house needs retrofit or mitigation of some sort, when the homeowner initiates that work and has that work completed, the evaluator comes back out and looks at that work as it's being done to make sure that it's being done in accordance with the fortified standards. After all the work is complete, and the file is complete at IBHS, then IBHS will issue a designation certificate. As we've talked about already, essentially the current condition report follows in sequential order the different designation levels and what kinds of systems need to be addressed. And we also provide an engineering guide along with the report that details what how the house can be brought up to compliance. This is another frequent question we get. How will I know as an agent? How will my insurance company know that I qualify? This is an example of what a fortified for existing homes designation certificate looks like. It will always have up in the upper right-hand corner a logo of the designation level achieved. It will have the address of the property. In the narrative underneath the address, if you read across here, it'll tell you what hazard, the hurricane hazard, was dealt with. It'll tell you what level was achieved. So in this case, on this example, it says bronze 1. And remember, 1 means that it did not have the roof covering replaced. And then we even go further and make sure that that's expressly written out. So it says that a hurricane resistance designation with existing roof cover was issued on March 26th. So this house did not have the roof covering replaced. And it has my signature, and again in the lower left-hand corner, a unique identifying number. This certificate goes directly to the homeowner. The homeowner supplies it to the insurer. So a review of the Fortified for Existing Homes program. Single-family homes are the only properties that are eligible for either one of the residential programs. So only single-family homes can qualify for Fortified for Safer Living or Fortified for Existing Homes designation. Who can provide fortified evaluations or inspections? Only IBHS certified evaluators. People professionals that meet our qualifications and are approved to attend in-person training or video training, and are tested and then certified by IBHS, and then a directory is published so people can find people in their area, certified individuals in their area. How much does it cost for a fortified evaluation? Now, remember, we already talked about Fortified for Safer Living, so this is just the cost associated with Fortified for Existing Homes. We don't set any pricing on any evaluations or any of the work that has to be done to a house, so all we can do is give ranges. The effective range right now for evaluations in places where Fortified for Existing Homes is active is $150 to $350. That is dependent on who the evaluator is, where they are, and the complexity of the house. So we always give the homeowners a list of a number of evaluators so that they can feel free to contact anyone and negotiate a fair price that the homeowner feels is fair. And then down at the bottom here is the key website address that gets the homeowners to the application.